I'm pretty sure that I just got done watching the worst Raw of the entire year. A Raw that felt like it would never end. I want you to know that I went to the movies last week, and I watched The Odyssey. The Odyssey is almost 3 hours long, and somehow that felt shorter than this show did. This show, watching it, actually felt longer, and the show went off the air 15 minutes early tonight. That's the kind of Monday Night Raw that we got here to follow up Saturday night's main event. We had no Roman Reigns, who needed time to recover after 25 minutes of aura farming at Madison Square Garden the other night. So he was not on the show tonight. Brock Lesnar was not on the show tonight. They're both going to be on the show next week, because next week is the go-home Raw before SummerSlam. So we're going to have one last face-to-face between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and then we're going to have a weigh-in between Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. That's going to be on the show next week. No. Tonight, you see, was Raw is Danhausen. Let me tell you, if you are not a fan of Danhausen, this was not the Raw for you. And if you are a fan of Danhausen, you probably won't be for much longer if they continue to run him into the ground. There had to be a minimum 4, maybe 5, minimum segments with Danhausen on this show. Multiple segments in the back, multiple segments in the ring. Then they announced that at SummerSlam he's going to have a match. It's going to be Danhausen one-on-one with Dominic Mysterio. That's now been added to the SummerSlam card because they're continuing this storyline about the $100,000 that Danhausen stole from the Judgment Day off air. How many months ago now? I don't even know. I thought this was all wrapped up at Saturday night's main event, but apparently not. So we had the 4 or 5 segments with him tonight, plus everything that happened on Saturday. We have the match with Dom coming up at SummerSlam. And next Monday night, we are going to have Danhausen singing, because Danhausen is going to be in concert with Joe Hendry, or as Michael Cole called him tonight, Joe Henry. It's all Danhausen all the time. Boy, they are determined to run this thing into the ground and make it so that I don't even want to see him on TV anymore. I actually sometimes feel like I'm one of the people who doesn't mind getting, doses of Danhausen on the show. They are this close to making it where I don't want to see him on my television screen anymore. They take something that's fun or special or works, and they just run it into the fucking ground. Ridiculous. All over this show tonight. You know what the biggest sin of this episode was? The biggest sin of this episode of Raw is that it was boring as shit. And it made me less interested in SummerSlam. It should be the opposite. You should be getting me more excited for SummerSlam. They took a step back and did the exact opposite here with this show tonight. So that's not good. Also, very interesting, no women's matches on the show tonight. And the one woman who just turned heel, coming off a huge win at Madison Square Garden over Bayley, was relegated to a segment during the commercial break tonight, where she briefly interrupted Sol Ruca and she vowed to get back the championship that once belonged to her. It's too bad none of that actually happened on the television show. Outside of that, we had Maxine Dupree. She was doing her thing with the Vision. She's the new leader of the Vision. Paul Heyman is not with the Vision anymore, clearly. And we also had Liv Morgan in her new role of manager, because that's basically what she is at this point. Let's just call her what she is. Liv Morgan is a manager on the show. She's a valet. She's Dom's better half. She walks around with the women's championship, but she hasn't defended it since April. So can you really call her a champion if she never defends her title? And that was the extent to which we had, any female presence on the show tonight, because the women's division on Raw is pretty much in shambles right now. I was saying this about SmackDown only a few months ago. So it's very interesting how the script has flipped to where now the division on this show is in tatters. And SmackDown, I can't say SmackDown is all that much better, but SmackDown at least is a little bit better than it was earlier in the year. And of course, on a very phoned-in episode of Raw, how did it end? It ended with the Bloodline minus Roman Reigns, who was not there, throwing up the ones in the air. Stop me if you've heard this before. if it feels like I'm describing a rerun of the show, there's very good reason for that, because that's what Raw feels like on most weeks. Very much so. Very much. And LA Knight lost in the main event. LA Knight lost to the Bloodline. I forgot to mention that little part there. It really does feel like Raw is just in rerun mode on most weeks. It's just awful. And so the cherry on the shit Sunday, in case you couldn't tell from the title of this stream, on top of all of that, we have TMZ now reporting that Tom Brady, Super Bowl champion Tom Brady, is in talks. He's in negotiations. He's having deep conversations with WWE. About what? They didn't specify. Although he's been going back and forth now for a while with Logan Paul. They had their little slap fest at Fanatics Fest the other day. They were both at the World Cup game on Sunday, flipping each other off. It feels like they're building to a match. Something between him and Logan Paul, which nobody with a brain is asking for. But that's kind of what it feels like right now. There is really no scenario in which Tom Brady is brought in to do anything with WWE that I would consider good. All of this is just bad. Not shocking, though, when you consider that Tom Brady is repped by WME Group. And WME Group is, of course, owned and operated by Endeavor, i.e. Ari Emanuel. So, of course, we get that synergy going again. It's the Pat McAfee thing all over again. This is your Monday Night Raw review. It is July 20th, 2026. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for being with me here on a Monday night. We got how many Tom Terrific fans do we have here in the chat? Are you excited? Are you excited to see Tom Brady grace your screens? I mean, you already have him doing the announcing on Fox NFL Sunday. Are you interested in seeing Tom Brady in a WWE ring? Whether it's as a wrestler, he may not even wrestle. I mean, the guy's 48 years old. He's never wrestled before. As a referee or in someone's corner. Are you excited to see Tom Brady grace your TV screens? Maybe they could do stuff with Tom Brady and Dan. Maybe Danhausen can put a curse on Tom Brady and make him go away. Maybe we could use Danhausen for good instead of for evil. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. Get them on in. Let me know how excited you are at the prospect of Tom Brady being on WWE television. Yes, send him to NXT. I like that idea. That's a good idea. Actually, Nick Aldis is going to be wrestling Gunther at SummerSlam. And I would presume that coming out of SummerSlam, he'll be back to his, general manager position on SmackDown. If they needed a new GM on SmackDown, we may end up with Tom Brady as the general manager of the Friday night show. Wouldn't that be something? We will try to entertain ourselves here on these streets. I say it every week, and I hear it from you guys too, where some of you don't even watch Raw. Some of you have literally dropped off watching any of the television shows, and you just tune into streams and podcasts like this one, or maybe just this one. And if you do, I appreciate that. Because the shows are just so fucking boring. You'll get a good one here and there, but then you get a show like this, and it just, I kind of sit back in awe. Like when I was putting the preview together for this show, I like to at least list out what the matches are that have already been announced. Maybe not all of them have been announced, but they give us 3 or 4. And I went to go through the preview for this show tonight, and I was stunned at the fact that there was nothing. There was nothing. They announced that Seth Rollins was going to open the show, which he didn't. They announced that this person will be here. This person will be here. This person will be here. That was it. That was the preview. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? What kind of preview is this? You're supposed to get people excited to watch this television show. Where is the excitement? The excitement is gone. The excitement is not there. So we will try to entertain ourselves. Go ahead and hit that like button. I'm going to bring up the wheel right now. Me spinning this wheel will be more exciting than all 2 hours plus of Monday Night Raw tonight. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. See? Aren't you having fun? I know I am. 550. Well, we may not be having fun at the end if we don't hit 550. If we do Be the Booker, we're at 230-something likes. So 550 likes is the goal. Although, I just, out of the corner of my eye, we are very close to the bonus goal already, and we're just starting. 7 out of 10. So we may be getting Be the Booker one way or the other. But go ahead and hit that like button. You guys know what to do. Thank you again. For those of you also who hung out with me on Saturday night, after Saturday night's main event, and tuned into the latest episode of the Solomonster Sounds Off on Sunday, episode 972, with my Dark Side of the Ring review of the finale of the trilogy of Jeff Jarrett and TNA Wrestling. It was more fun actually going through all of the awful LOL TNA moments from the Hogan Bischoff era than it was watching this episode of Monday Night Raw. It was very entertaining. Not in the best way, but it was very entertaining. And you know what sucks? The show opened tonight with promise because we got something very unusual from Monday Night Raw. We opened with a wrestling match. I was stunned. We went right into the action. We had the World Tag Team Champions. It was Austin Theory and Bron Breakker. Non-title. Taking on the random team of Javon Evans and Dragon Lee, brought together by a mutual respect coming out of what I thought was a hell of a sprint in the gauntlet match last week that the two of them had, so they were tag team partners this week. Why not? Why not? They don't have a tag team division, so you may as well. I can actually, that's not a bad team. Javon and Dragon Lee actually make a pretty good team. Maybe that could become a thing. So Evans, he jumped Breakker before the bell even rang, took him out with a dive to the floor. Braun, though, got a measure of revenge. A little while later, he blind tagged into the match, took Javon down with a suplex. Logan Paul was outside the ring. He was running distraction, and after that, Dragon Lee got caught coming off the top by Breakker, who planted him with a power slam, and that took us into an ad break. Later on, Evans, he dumped Breakker over the timekeeper's barricade. And then Javon decided to do a circle around the entire ring, and he built up a head of steam, and he did a big dive over the timekeeper's barricade onto Breakker, almost killed himself in doing so. Back inside, Maxine Dupree reaches in, she trips up Dragon Lee. That allowed Breakker to drop him with a clothesline. Evans then got killed with a spear. Then the super spear, the turbo spear by Bron Breakker followed onto Dragon Lee, cut him in half, and that was the end of Javon Evans and Dragon Lee. Hey, X-Mega, man, you missed a hell of an open. This was my favorite episode of Raw all year, X-Mega. Everybody in the chat will tell you all the wonderful things I just had to say about this wonderful TV show. So after the match, Alpha Academy comes out. Here comes Otis, here comes Tozawa. And they make the save because the Vision was continuing their beatdown on Dragon Lee. Otis was dropping everybody. He was knocking everybody down. And then Maxine got in the ring and she slapped Otis. Otis, though, and Tozawa, they ended up outside. They're clearing off the announce desk. And Otis is going to deliver a powerbomb to Theory through the desk. Breakker, though, rounds the bend and he spears Otis down to the floor before he could do anything. Back inside, Theory took out Tozawa with, I'm assuming, might be his new finishing move. It's basically a discus forearm that got no reaction. And Breakker then cut down Otis with the super spear, and Maxine looked on with a smile on her face. Paul Heyman was not on the show. He was probably backstage, but he was not on the show tonight outside of a pre-taped video package for the Brock and Oba match. So that could be why there was no interaction with him in this group here. But based on what we saw last week, where he basically blew them off and said, "What do you need me for? You got her." She may well be the new leading face of the Vision here. The Vision is now, here's the thing, the Vision is now built around Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree. Bron Breakker, he feels like he's his partner, but he almost feels like a bodyguard now for Theory. He's playing he's playing third fiddle. What am I talking about? Third fiddle. I didn't even know there were 3 fiddles. Third fiddle to Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree. What are we doing here? I don't know. There's your obligatory Vision segment for the week. We go backstage after this. We go from the Vision to the Judgment Day, from the Judgment Day to the Bloodline, from the Bloodline to the Vision, and the Vision to the Bloodline, from the Vision to the Bloodline, and the Judgment Day pops up in between. I feel like I'm just being bounced back and forth between the same factions over and over again. I'm pretty sure all 3 of them, have overstayed their welcome. There is not a single group on this show that should still be together. Not one. And then what do we have on SmackDown? I don't even remember offhand. Do we have any factions on SmackDown? Who do we have on SmackDown? Why do we still have the Judgment Day and the Bloodline running Monday Night Raw? Can somebody explain this to me? Why is this still a thing? Somebody had an idea on the stream the other night, and I don't think it's going to happen. But it really intrigued me. Where Sami Zayn, justice for Sami. Sami's been screwed multiple times now. And Drew McIntyre's been missing for a while. Kevin Owens has been out for a long time. What if the 3 of them came together as like a faction of guys who all share a common interest or have been screwed over in various ways? And I thought about it and I said, yeah, it's not going to happen, but that would be intriguing. That would be an intriguing group. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Drew McIntyre coming together. At least that would be something different, and they're brought together by a common cause. Instead, we get the same groups over and over again. Fatal Influence, that's the big group on SmackDown. Okay, then. Oh, the baddies. That's right. The baddies. Amazing. Backstage, the Judgment Day had Danhausen up against the wall. Like a bully in high school, holding the kid up against the wall for his lunch money. And they want their money, but they want their $100,000. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Did I not just watch the blow-off to this on Saturday? You had Danhausen against JD McDonough, again, over all this money. And they have their match at Madison Square Garden. We had the New York Knicks, right? Cats. Karl Anthony Towns comes in and helps Danhausen win. And all the mini-Hausens are running around like a bunch of gremlins with the paint on their face and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, this story is over. This was the big payoff to the story. It was building to Madison Square Garden, right? And then the first Raw coming out of Saturday, the Judgment Day has Danhausen up against the wall and they still want their money. They're worse than a loan shark. Every week. Where's my money? Where's my money? He told him, I got to go find it. And Dom said, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go find it and bring it back. Danhausen runs off. They immediately cut to a 4-minute commercial break. That's a lot more than 30 seconds. First, though, we got another vignette for the return of Big Cass. Or Colin Cassidy, as we saw in some of the clippings that they showed. We had our first vignette last week. There was no sign of Enzo Amore. It was strictly Big Cass. And I thought, okay, well, this week they'll probably have one for Enzo. And right, because both of them have been rumored to be coming back. And it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to bring them back after all these years, but keep them completely separated from each other. I suppose they could, but it would be very surprising. So this was, again, just entirely about Big Cass. And in this one, they were highlighting some of the personal issues that he's had. And, that really led to the end of his last WWE run. He had torn his ACL. Then later on, he had substance abuse issues with alcohol that was well documented. And again, at the end of the video, they flashed that August 3rd date, which is the Raw coming out of SummerSlam. That is where he will be making his return. No Enzo here. It's the voice in the narration sounded like Enzo to me. I couldn't tell if it was him or not, or if it was Cass himself. It sounded a little like Enzo. He may have been the one doing the narration. I still think he's coming in. But if this is you watch this segment and your takeaway from it is that he is coming back as a single. I think that's great news. If that's what's going on here, I think that's great.
Abusika says Bukaki.
I'm the Bukaki ghost.
There he is. Yeah.
Goodness.
Go ahead, get it out of your system. The Bukaki ghost, he's getting it out of his system early. You know, this is not the television show that I would be getting orgasmic to. If this was a great Raw, I could understand the ghost coming out and, you know, touching himself and doing all the things that he was just doing. This Raw does not get anybody excited, though. So I'm a little surprised to see the ghost there. Hey, Venom Kitetsu, thank you. Because Venom Kitetsu not only dropped the 69 on me, but he also hit the goal. The bonus goal, rather. 10 out of 10. So I applaud you and everybody else for getting us there. For getting us there early. Oh yeah, that's a super chat, all right. You know, I hadn't seen the ghost in months until was it Saturday night, and now we've had the ghost I think twice in 48 hours. He's starting to pop out more. It says officially 38 today. I won't be getting 69, so I thought I would pass a 69 to you. Thanks for another lap around the sun of making what's left of modern wrestling entertaining. Same time next year with everybody saying 38. Yeah. Well, cheers to Venom Kitetsu and happy 38th birthday, brother. I hope it was a great one. I mean, it's almost over now, but I hope it was a great one. And thank you for the support. Bring out Mantar. Well, it's not up to me. He's in there. He's in his cave. It's not going to be up to me if Mantar comes out. All right. Well, now that we've hit that goal, I'm going to make a new one. Because you guys smashed that one a lot sooner than I thought you would. So we're going to do that. Where if we hit the bonus, then we'll do a second round. There you go. There's the new goal. So yeah, I mean, if he's coming back as a single, I think that's great. You've heard me talk about my reasoning for it. I think that's, you know, just going to be better for him in the long run. And Enzo could do something else, or Enzo could be with him, you know, again, in his corner. I think that's fine. But the tag team division, it's a dead duck right now on this show. Yeah, that'll be good for a little bit, and then it won't be. So we'll see. We'll see if we get an Enzo vignette, or maybe they're going to save him as a surprise. But I can't imagine that if he's coming in, they're not going to be together. So we get a recap of all of the Danhausen stuff. You're going to hear me mentioning his name a lot here in this review. So after all the Danhausen, JD McDonough stuff from Saturday night's main event, he comes out to the ring. And he's got a leather satchel or bag or whatever that apparently has lots of human monies in it. And he said, look, I don't want this money anymore, but I also don't want to give it to the Judgment Day. So he says, would you fans like the money? And I'm sure many of them were like, yeah, for the amount of money we paid for these tickets, it sure would be nice to recoup some of it. So, of course, they all went wild because they wanted the money. The Judgment Day comes out to put a stop to all this. Danhausen tried to put a curse on them, but Dominic and JD, they put the boots to him instead. Liv Morgan was just laughing at all of this. Out comes Joe Hendry. And I thought to myself, oh my God, he's getting an entrance, which it's not really an entrance. It was a run-in. So it wasn't a proper entrance. It's the closest thing to a real entrance that he's had in a very long time, if ever, on this show since he came to Raw. So he dropped Dom with a fallaway slam. Liv grabbed the bag with the money like Heenan at WrestleMania 1 after the $15,000 body slam match. She snatched that bag and she ran off with it. And so that was the end of that. We'll get back to this Judgment Day Danhausen crap here in a little bit. We had Rollins and Reigns, Chapter 3, because they're in the middle of airing these very quick little snippets, like little vignettes throughout the show, documenting all of their history together in this company. This was the cash-in from WrestleMania 31. And I'm looking at this, and they had the close-up of Roman's face, and I'm reminded of the blue contact lenses that Vince McMahon had Roman wearing at that time because that's just how he felt. He wanted people to see his top star. Put the blue contact lenses in if you have blue eyes. It's gonna just make you a bigger baby face. Blue contact lens Roman Reigns, he looks like, I don't know, he looks very alien. Honestly, he doesn't look real. He looks AI. It's just a very weird period of time in the career of Roman Reigns. So now we go to the back. Adam Pearce is yelling at the Judgment Day. Danhausen and Joe Hendry, they walk up. Pearce holds them back. McDonough, he has the satchel. And so he reaches into his sack. And he pulls out money, but he realizes that it's not real legal tender. It's fake money. It's got Danhausen's face. I mean, some of it may have been real, actually, underneath. But like on top, it's got Danhausen's face on it. So it's all fake. He tosses the bag aside. And he's ranting and raving, and everybody has this look on their face like they've seen a ghost. Perhaps they've seen the Bukkake ghost. And they're trying to get McDonough's attention to turn around. And he turns around, and it's Obafemi. Because when he threw the bag, he inadvertently struck Obafemi with it. Like, that's basically, I mean, you have a death wish at that point. Oba was ready to murder this man. And so they're all bickering, and Pearce booked J.D. McDonough against Obafemi right now. And then Dom was protesting, oh, this is unfair. And Pearce said, well, you know what? We're going to do a match later in the show. It'll be you against Joe Hendry. So we had 2 matches, impromptu matches, booked here on the spot. So we had J.D. McDonough against Obafemi. Joe Hendry and Danhausen. How many times is that now? Is that 3 times? We're not even done yet. They come out. And they throw the Judgment Day, or McDonough anyway, into the ring because they were very reluctant to get inside. And Obafemi made very short work of him. Huge back body drop. We don't get enough of those in wrestling today, by the way. I'm sure they suck to take, but I do love me a good back body drop with some good elevation. There was a pay-per-view. I'm trying to remember. It had to be a Survivor Series. I'm almost positive it was a Survivor Series. Maybe 91, maybe. Where Shawn Michaels was still in the Rockers, and he took a back body drop. I want to say it was the Barbarian, maybe the Warlord, but I think it was the Barbarian. He got back body dropped. I don't know that I've ever seen a man sent into orbit the way that Shawn Michaels was sent into orbit. I watched in awe. I watched in amazement at this. So I don't know if he quite reached Shawn Michaels' height, but he got back body dropped into the heavens. Oba picked him up and beeled him across the ring, and then finally he hit the fall from grace, and that was the end of J.D. McDonough in under a minute. Thanks for coming. When the match was over, Oba looked into the camera and he said, no more BS. The money is at SummerSlam. Hell in a Cell. I'll see you there, Brock. Oba continues to tear it up. You know, he comes out, he's got that presence about him. There's a reason why he's super over, because there's nobody like him on the roster right now. He just has that it factor. He has that presence about him when he comes out. And the promos that he's cut, even the one on Saturday on the pre-show, Stephanie McMahon was in the ring, or Steph, and they had Oba come out and he cut a promo, and it was very good. It was very good. So he continues to do his thing, and he's super over wherever they go, which is great to see. Michael Cole and Corey Graves. So they were plugging various things. They were plugging a whole bunch of different things, including how great Fanatics Fest was over the weekend. When Asuka screamed for Kyrie. Arc Prince coming in with a $15 super chat. Hey, Arc Prince, thank you, brother. Says, what's up, Solo? Raw once again proving to me that the only good wrestling shows I've been to this year are HOG and Stardom. I even left Saturday night's main event early because of the New York Knicks glazing. Man, a New Yorker who doesn't like the Knicks. It's rare. It's rare, but I feel you, brother. I feel you. You went to a wrestling show and a glazing session. I haven't seen that much glaze since the last time I was in Krispy Kreme. Arc Prince, thank you for the super chat. So the announcers are talking, and Solo Sikoa, out of nowhere, he comes just randomly walking into camera frame on his way into the ring, still donning that bright red sport coat. He's been wearing this now for weeks. I mean, at least on Raw, it works. I'm starting to think he sleeps in this thing. He says that he's not even supposed to be on this show, but he has a proposition to make, and he asked Seth Rollins to get out here now. And it's a good thing that Seth just so happened to be standing at the gorilla position, I guess, because as soon as they hit his music, he came out. Say his name and he appears. Rollins came down to the ring. He said, you don't go here, but he'll welcome him to Monday Night Rollins. And since you're on my show, what can I do for you? He asked, are we talking or are we fighting? Solo says, I'm here to talk. I'm not here to fight. And he asked Rollins, hear me out. He knows that he's focused on getting ready for Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, but Seth has to understand it's not going to be one-on-one. It's Rollins against the whole damn bloodline, 4 against 1. And Solo knows what they're going to do because he used to be part of it. They're going to make sure that Seth doesn't stand a chance, but it doesn't have to be that way. Solo says that he called Rollins out here to offer to watch his back at SummerSlam. So Seth admits, you make a lot of good points. You're right about Roman and the bloodline, and maybe working together could mean something special. So he tells Solo, look, I want time to think about it. And he goes to walk away, and Solo grabs him and spins him around and says there's nothing to think about. He's just asking to do for Seth the same thing that Seth did for Cody Rhodes a few years ago. I guess that was when he was Cody's shield at WrestleMania. So here comes Jacob Fatu. Solo exits stage left, right back through the timekeeper's area. Rollins is in the ring. Solo is gone, but Fatu is in the ring, and he's looking out at Solo. Doesn't realize that Rollins is setting up behind him. And as soon as Jacob turns around, Fatu eats a super kick, and then Rollins leaves. So not a whole lot to this segment. We did find out later on that per Roman Reigns, and this is very exciting, Roman was not there tonight, but he made it very clear to the other members of the bloodline they are not to put their hands on Seth Rollins. So Jacob couldn't touch him. The Usos couldn't touch him. That was the rule. He doesn't want any of them to lay a finger on Rollins until SummerSlam. Right? Rollins belongs to him. So they made that very clear on the show tonight. We had Penta and Chad Gable, who were going to be opponents at SummerSlam, but they were partners tonight. Can they coexist? We go from one can they coexist match on Saturday to another one tonight. The answer is yes, they did in fact coexist. They took on Ethan Page and Rusev. After a commercial, Penta managed to lay out Rusev. He makes the tag. In comes Chad Gable. Am I doing it right? This is what we're doing for Gable. God bless him, man. He's trying to get this whole clapping thing over. And like some fans are doing it, but it's not really catching on, I think, in the way that they would like for it to. I think what they're hoping for is that once they get to that stadium and they have 50,000... I take that back. And they have their 30-something thousand. Still a very healthy number. But however many people are going to be there in Minneapolis, I think they want that visual of all the people in the stadium doing the clap. Right? They want the clap. Especially if he wins the championship, which he better. But he gets into the ring here. Some rolling German suplexes to Ethan. Belly-to-belly suplex. Angle slam follows. He covers him, but could not get the 3. He went for a moonsault. Ethan moved out of the way. And Rusev tagged in. He planted Gable with a Uranagi. He went for the cover. Penta, though, made the save. So Penta sent Ethan to the floor. And then he took him out with a tope. Back inside, Gable went for a suplex. Rusev, though, countered out of it into an accolade in the center of the ring. Gable was able to power out of the accolade, and Rusev put him down with a headbutt. Penta, he went to the top rope. And Rusev, he sent Gable into the corner, which then caused Penta to lose his balance, and he crotched himself on the top rope, and he fell out of the ring to the floor. Rusev tried for the accolade again. Penta, though, countered into an ankle lock. Ethan gets into the ring. And before he can break that up, Penta used Gable as a springboard to hit a Mexican destroyer to Ethan Page. As Gable cinches on the ankle lock, he gets the grapevine. So he's grapevining the leg. And as soon as he grapevines the leg, Rusev immediately taps out. There was no hesitation here. He just immediately tapped out to give Penta and Gable the win. And when the match was over, Penta and Gable, they shook hands. They were very friendly with each other. There was no tension, nothing like that, nothing out of the ordinary. There was some controversy, though, this past weekend at Fanatics Fest involving Penta. I'm sure some of you at least saw the story, or maybe you saw the video. There was an area where Penta was told, I guess, that it was safe for him to walk around without his mask. He had like the makeup on, but he was maskless. Meanwhile, there's a streamer named Neon, who some of you may be familiar with. He was there live streaming. He had his crew with him. They're filming. He's walking around, and he claims that he was told that it was a safe area to go ahead and film. That's what he says. As he's walking around, the guy's filming, and there's fucking Penta without his mask on walking by. And Penta is talking to Neon. Can't see Penta, but he's talking to him saying, please don't post that. Please don't film. I'm a masked wrestler. I don't have my mask on. And Neon's all apologetic and everything. But apparently now, I mean, there have been, there's talk that maybe Penta might sue him. I don't know how accurate any of that is, but it turned into like a whole big thing. So I don't know. Penta is suing this guy, or they said Penta wants to, he wants to face him one-on-one. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but an unfortunate situation. But then again, you have Tama Tonga, who goes on his Instagram and posts, I told you guys what had happened. Like, he was on his IG and he posted a photo from catering backstage, and there, just without his mask on, is Rey Fenix. That's why he got in trouble. And they fined him. I think they fined him. What did they fine him? They fined him like $100,000 or something, right? Was it $100,000 or $10,000? I think it was $100,000. Maybe he got the money from Danhausen, but he got in trouble for that. Can't be doing that. We got our next little Rollins and Reigns vignette, Chapter 4, their first meeting for Money in the Bank 2016. It is pretty crazy to think that the two of them, when the Shield was broken up and he planted the chair in Roman's back, that was in June, I believe, of 2014. It took 2 years before the two of them had their first singles match against each other. That's pretty crazy. But they did, and Rollins, he won back the championship. He said that he never lost, but only for a moment. No mention of what he meant by that. No mention of why he only won the championship for a moment. They conveniently left out the part where the championship actually went to the third member of the Shield. All three members of the Shield in one night held the WWE title. But to watch this, you would never know there was a third member of the Shield. So anyway, backstage, Seth Rollins gets up in Jacob Fatu's face. And he asks Fatu, if I win the championship at SummerSlam, do I get you as my bag boy like you are for Roman? And Jacob said, if there's anything left of you after SummerSlam, I'm going to beat your ass. But remember, he can't put his hands on him, so there was no physicality here. We come back from commercial. We got a Paul Heyman video package where he talked about the dangers of Hell in a Cell, and he called Obafemi overrated. Said that Brock Lesnar is undefeated inside Hell in a Cell. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, he is technically correct, but, to hear him talk about this, you would think that Brock had some sort of great streak going of just undefeated matches in Hell in a Cell. I believe he's only had 2 of them. Right? I mean, it was the Undertaker one in 2002 at No Mercy, and the Undertaker one in 2015. I'm pretty sure the only Hell in a Cell matches he's ever been in were with the Undertaker, and I think it was just those 2. But he is undefeated. He did win both of those matches. So then we got yet another history package on Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. This one about the reunion of the Shield. So what was this? This was 2018? 2018, right? And the two of them said that it never should have happened. It never felt right. Roman called it lost time that he can never get back. It's funny, that's how I felt watching this television show tonight. We had Dominic Mysterio against Joe Hendry. Dom and Liv, they entered first. And then they cut to a commercial break. And you guessed it, Joe Hendry's entrance once again relegated to the commercial break. At least we had the run-in earlier in the show. We had the save. But I was like, as much as I know my own name, as soon as they went to commercial, I said, he's coming out during the... And he did. He came out during the commercial break. When they came back, before they even went to the ring, they talked about Nick Aldis and Gunther being made official, which it was on Sunday, yesterday. That was made official for SummerSlam. So then they cut back live to the arena, and Joe Hendry is already in the ring, and he's swaying his hands back and forth. They can make him and Chad Gable a tag team. You'll have Chad Gable doing the clap, and you'll have Joe Hendry waving his arms back and forth. And they could win the World Tag Team titles. Liv Morgan involved herself here in this match because she is a manager now. Danhausen, there he is again. Danhausen comes out to put a curse on Liv Morgan, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's already cursed her before, so you would think with a double curse, it might have the opposite effect. It might actually uncurse her. I don't know how that works. I do a lot of cursing, but not different kind of cursing. I did a lot of cursing watching this television show tonight, in fact, here in my house. So he went to go put a curse on her, and before he could finish the curse, she decked him, and Danhausen left. After a commercial, Hendry dumped Dom with a fallaway slam. Liv then distracted Joe Hendry, which allowed Dom to catch him with a tornado DDT. Danhausen, I swear to God. What did I say at the beginning of the stream? Minimum 4. I think I actually undercut it. It was 5 or 6 times that this man made appearances here on this show. Danhausen comes out in his Danhausen mobile, or whatever the fuck he calls it, and he's got Io Sky with him, and the two of them are doing this. So now we have a trio. I just realized we need a trio in this company. We can get Chad Gable doing this, we can get Joe Hendry doing this, and we can get Io Sky doing this. And then I'll be in the corner banging my head against the wall over and over and over again. And then over there, you'll have Jacob Fatu doing that, whatever the fuck that is. Everybody will just lose their minds. There you go. Wave your hands, clap your hands, do whatever this is. So Io comes running down. She and Liv Morgan, they start going at it. She throws Liv into the ring. She delivers a springboard dropkick. The referee is now busy with the two ladies. Danhausen sneaks into the ring, and he drops Dom with the triple D, which is the Danhausen death drop. And so Joe Hendry was able to pick up the win. And then later on, they announced officially for SummerSlam, it will be Danhausen going one-on-one with Dominic Mysterio. And so it continues. The main event of this show was Jacob Fatu. This was Fatu's first match on Monday Night Raw. One-on-one with LA Knight. First, LA Knight came out to the ring, and he cut a promo. He said he's standing here in the Dirty D, just a few weeks from Summer. Oh, I just realized they were in Detroit. And Dynamite and Collision are in Detroit next week. The Motor City. I guess the Motor City is very popular this month for wrestling shows. But they're in the Dirty D just a few weeks from SummerSlam, where he, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys are going to team up against the Usos and Jacob Fatu. But Solo Sikoa came out here earlier tonight talking about helping Seth Rollins after Knight told him that it's hard to trust him. He said, Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam makes him sick. And then we got chants from the crowd. He was greeted by chants of OTC, OTC. And as he's done before, because he doesn't want to go completely heel on the fans, he says, look, I don't even blame all of you because Roman has you conned. He basically called the fans a bunch of dumbasses in so many words and said that you're being fooled. You're being hoodwinked by this man. He's coming out here year after year after year begging for people to like him. And for years, the people booed him year after year after year until he finally figured things out. Meanwhile, LA Knight walked in the door on day one being exactly who he is and who he wanted to be. Not only is he everything that Roman Reigns wanted to be, he's everything everyone in the back wanted Roman to be, but couldn't. But as much as he can't stand Roman or Seth, he said Solo is focused on the wrong thing. He wants to help Seth Rollins. He says it's a bridge too far to go help a cross-eyed half-wit like Rollins against the bloodline. So, in a minute here, Fatu is going to come out here to his Mortal Kombat music, and he's going to come test his might. But whatever he does, he can't stop LA Knight. You can have your little shakes. He's got the cure. He's talking about, the Jacob Fatu shakes. You can have your little shakes, but he's got the cure, smacking you back to factory settings. And the whole time he's doing so, the soundtrack is going to be the same all around the world with everybody saying, LA Knight. Yeah. So there you go. And look, they gave him quite a bit of promo time here, which was nice to see. But Jacob Fatu comes out, they go to commercial, they come back, they join this match already in progress. This is the main event of the show. And they join the match already in progress. Fatu sent Knight out to the floor, dove out onto him. Knight, though, whipped him into the steel steps knees first. Fatu manages to come back with a Samoan drop on the apron, which doesn't really sound as impressive when I tell you that Fatu was standing on the floor outside when he delivered this Samoan drop on the apron. So basically, he just kind of dumped him backwards on the apron. Not as impressive as if he was standing on the apron and delivered a Samoan drop. So then we got another break. Come back and Fatu is in control. Goes up top. Knight, though, is jockeying with him for position on the ropes. Headbutt sends LA Knight crashing down to the mat, but he jumps back up, hits the big superplex. Here comes Jimmy Uso down to the ring to cheerlead for Fatu. And he's got his back to the timekeeper's barrack. He's positioned himself very conveniently for someone to show up, and that someone just so happened to be Solo Sikoa. This is the second time that's happened, by the way. And so Solo Sikoa appears behind him, and he attacks. Fatu, though, takes out Solo with a suicide dive. Back inside, he gets caught with a BFT, but Jimmy distracts the referee. Now Royce Keys appears. And he beats down Uso, tosses him over the announce desk. Now we hear main event Jey Uso's music. Haven't seen him in a few weeks. He's been a little busy with some life stuff. I'm sure TMZ will be all over it. But he comes out of the crowd and he delivers a super kick to Royce Keys. Knight takes down Jey with a basement drop kick through the ropes. Back inside, though, Fatu nails him with a super kick and then a pop-up Samoan drop. And then comes the double jump because Fatu hits the ropes to go for the mighty moonsault, and it connects, and he pins LA Knight 1, 2, 3. Thanks for coming, LA. After the match is over, Solo Sikoa, he immediately pounces on Fatu. Doesn't even give him a chance to get up after the 3 count. Jimmy runs in to attack him. Jey finishes Solo off with a spear. Royce Keys comes into the ring. And he mows both Usos down with a double clothesline. Fatu turns him around. And the two friends, they start going at it. So they're trading shots back and forth. And then Keys lays him out with a really good spine buster. Then he falls, though, to a 1D. Michael Cole couldn't help himself. He called it a 3D. I actually don't blame him for that. That's what the fucking move is. It's a 3D. But Corey Graves is like, no, Cole. It's a 1D, one and done. Yeah, but it takes 3 men to do the move. It's a fucking 3D. LA Knight gets up. And Fatu applies the Tongan Death Grip, which I will point out to you, he still has not won any matches with. But he applies the Tongan Death Grip and gets him down in the corner, and that allows each Uso and Fatu to each come in one by one with running hip attacks. And then Jay finished him off with a Samoan splash, an Uso splash, off the top rope. And the Bloodline left their opponents laying as they stood in the center of the ring, pointing their fingers up to the sky. Stop me if you've heard this story before. And that is how Raw went off the air. I want to say it was 10:17 p.m., I believe. It was almost 15 minutes early that they went off the air. I don't know that I've ever watched an episode of Raw on Netflix that went off the air 15 minutes early that felt like it was minimum 15 minutes longer than it actually was. This was as short of a Raw episode as we have had in a very long time, and I felt every minute of it. It was one of those nights. This was a terrible show. This was a terrible show in the lead up to SummerSlam in terms of getting me really excited or interested in the show any more so than I already was. It was just a hard show to sit through. It was fucking boring. It was a boring, phoned-in television show. You know, yeah, they were missing some big names, but you could still have a great show or a fun show or an exciting show even if you don't have Roman Reigns on the show or Brock Lesnar on the show. Because let's be honest, if Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar are on the show, they're not doing anything. Roman's going to come out to the ring. He's going to cut the same promo we always hear him cut, and the fans will sing his name and or chant OTC. He's not going to wrestle. Brock Lesnar's going to be on the show. He's not going to wrestle. He's going to stand there. He's going to bounce around. And Paul Heyman will cut the same promo he usually cuts, right? Talk shit, get hit. Okay. You didn't need them on the show to have a show that was, you know, that would grab you in some way. So, yeah, this show sucked. I don't know any other way to put it. This show sucked. Hopefully SmackDown will it'd be hard to imagine SmackDown being any worse. But coming out of what happened at the SummerSlam kickoff yesterday with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, if we can get a Punk and Cody in-ring confrontation on Friday, I think that would certainly be one way that I would go. We have to get that segment on SmackDown sometime in the next 2 weeks. This week would be as good as any, because now we have tensions truly boiling over between the two of them. Of the two SummerSlam main events, that's the one that's the one that I'm most interested in. Rollins and Reigns, I know, are going to have a really good match. I don't doubt that. But I'm just, their history being the catalyst for this does nothing for me. I don't give a shit that they were in the Shield 14 years ago. I don't give a shit that he cashed in on him in 2015. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Cody and Punk, I've been looking forward to that match for a very long time. It's a match we haven't seen before. They've kept them apart. Now they're trying to manufacture some tension between them coming out of Saturday. You know, the belt accidentally hit Cody in the face when Punk was leaving and all that's, you know, it's a very thin thing, but you had to have some spark, right, to light the fuse. And so now the two of them are going to be at each other's throats. Words will be exchanged. I think things are going to really start to get interesting on that front. So I am looking forward to that on Friday. Like I said, it's just hard for me to imagine that show is going to be much worse, but we've seen some terrible fucking SmackDowns this year. I mean, WWE television in general is just a fucking dumpster fire right now. It's bad. It's bad. It's very bad. But that was Raw. That was the Raw coming out of Saturday night's main event.
I am the last.
Oh,
Shut the fuck
go from
up.
bad to worse.
Fuck that tree.
And now we have the Painmaker is going to be wrestling at Redemption this Sunday. Are you ready for the Painmaker? He brings the pain. Thank you, Barry. Rhea's title run this year was reminding me of when Trish had a year-long title reign in 2005, but was off TV for months. Aren't those the most exciting reigns? How many times did we get that with Brock when Brock was Universal Champion? It's great. That's great TV. Let's put the belt on someone to elevate the belt, the value of the belt, by putting it on a name and never have that name on TV. Very exciting. Yeah, well, that Rhea run sounds about as good as the Liv Morgan run. Liv Morgan's run has been the worst women's championship reign that I've ever seen. At least in the history of that title. Again, I don't blame her for that. She's not booking her own stuff, but it is the single worst reign that I've ever seen. And the quicker they can transition that belt away from her onto somebody else, the better. But who's to say they don't do the same thing with Io if Io beats her for the championship? Who's Io going to work with? We didn't have a single women's match on the show tonight. That's the state of the division right now. Now, they did mention that next week, Raquel Rodriguez is going to be challenging Sol Ruca for the Intercontinental Championship. That feels to me like we may be getting a title change next week. So we're going to get that on the show next week. But tonight, there was nothing. Again, Lyra Valkyria couldn't even get TV time tonight. She was in an off-air segment during the commercials. You know, I want heel Lyra to succeed, but again, it's important to get her on the actual television show. I understand she's not in a match right now at SummerSlam. Unless they add something next week. If Bayley makes a big comeback and they rematch them at SummerSlam. They have 2 nights. They'll probably end up with 13 or 14 matches. So you could, I don't know if they would, but you could do the rematch between her and Bayley on that show. But to not even have her on the show, I'm like, that's a mistake. You know, now is the most important time that she should be appearing on the show and doing stuff. But evidently there was just not enough room with all the Danhausen segments. Without 6 Danhausen segments, there was no room for any of them on the show. So it didn't work out. Let's take a look at your super chats. I didn't even mention the Danhausen parade that we had the other day. They had and it was pouring rain in New York City, and they had this little pathetic parade float that they were just pulling down. God, what was that? Was that 8th Avenue? No, 34th Street. It was Danhausen and R-Truth holding their umbrellas in the rain, and they did that for like an hour in the lead up to Saturday night's main event. Right now, it's all Danhausen all the time. And look, I'm happy for all the success that he's having, but he's still a comedy gimmick. And when you have a comedy gimmick like that, you have to do it in small doses. If you begin to overload people on it, that is when people begin to resent you and they begin to turn on you. Maybe that's their goal. I don't know. There is such a thing as too much. Hey, Joseph Stewart. Happy Monday, brother. Yeah, there was a big trailer I heard that dropped today. Avengers Doomsday. I will say I was very much caught off guard by that Robert Downey Jr. voice. But I guess, you know, for Victor Von Doom, I guess it does make sense. Thank you, brother. Why did Tony Khan, or what did Tony Khan, I think is what he meant, do to make people believe in Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander as good wrestlers and world champions more than they see Speedball Mike Bailey as world champion? I'm not sure I understand the question. Orange Cassidy has never been a world champion before. He's been the international champion. Chris Statlander is a great wrestler, so not hard to wonder why she's been the AEW Women's World Champion. Speedball Mike Bailey, not the AEW World Champion. Sorry. There's a lot of people ahead of him in line right now. Do you think TNA should have continued to build the company around Raven? No. Do you think Hulk Hogan would have been a good He-Man? No. Do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been a good Bane in a Batman movie? Maybe if he was a little younger. Probably could have made that work, sure. Masters of the Universe is going to be on Amazon Prime this Wednesday. Yes, anybody who wants to check it out on digital, it will be available on Wednesday. I'm surprised they moved it to digital so quick, but It bombed at the box office, so I guess maybe I shouldn't be that surprised. Top performances in the Odyssey. You know who I was impressed by in the Odyssey? John Leguizamo. Playing the old blind guy. I thought he did really well with it. I did. The one who I was least impressed by was Tom Holland. He was okay, but I mean, there was nothing special about his performance. Matt Damon was great. Anne Hathaway was great. The woman who played Cersei, the witch, she was good. Anyway, Joseph, thank you, brother, as always. The Shaunathon says, did you see Odyssey? And if so, what did you... I talked about it at the beginning of the podcast. You got to go check out the sound off from yesterday, right at the top. I enjoyed it very much. And yes, I did see the trailer. Am I going to see the movie? That's a different story. Apparently it's coming. Is it coming out the same day as Dune 3? I should probably try to see Dune 1 and 2 to see if I like it enough to see Dune 3. Is Dune worth watching? I never saw it. I need some feedback. I know Dave Bautista's in one of them. Is he in the second one? Quizzical one. What is Ron Jeremy's favorite beer? Busch Light. ExpressVPN.com/Solomonster. It's the only VPN you need, brother. I use it every week, every stream, except Wednesday. Wednesday, I just go into HBO Max and I just watch Dynamite. But for Raw and SmackDown, it is a must. I actually watched Saturday night's main event on YouTube. I used the VPN and watched it on YouTube because internationally it's on YouTube. And I did that because I was worried if I watched it on Peacock, I would be assaulted with the usual stuff. So I'm like, I'll just watch it on YouTube. Death Scythe says, if they need to add women to the ladder match at SummerSlam, then why not Lyra Valkyria and Sol Ruka? Yes, they're on Raw, but I said once and I'll say it again, what brand split? Sure. I have no problem with that. I think that's fine. They've already established that there are really no rules that anybody is held to when it comes to the separation of the rosters. So, sure. Put Lyra in there. Sol, I mean, Sol... Well, you know what, though? They have the women's U.S. champion who already qualified. Stratton's in there, so why not? Why not put her in there? It's fine by me. Dry Chicken says it won't happen. It will never happen, but Tom Brady could be pretty tempted to get in the ring with Logan Paul since Logan keeps provoking him. Yeah, well, fuck that noise. Nobody asked for this. Nobody. Also, Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight. I'm predicting a false finish. Kevin Knight holds the world title, but another referee reverses the decision and restarts the match. So basically the Rock Benoit finish from Fully Loaded in 2000. Death Side says, when Drew McIntyre screwed Cody Rhodes out of the Elimination Chamber, what did Nick Aldis do? He gifted Cody a title shot on the following SmackDown. Well, can you really say he gifted it to him if he deserved it? The Shaunathon, am I the only one that doesn't like the TKO era match card graphics for PLEs? SummerSlam match card graphics look so basic for the second biggest show. Brother, there's a lot that I don't like about this TKO era, and the match card graphics are pretty low on the list. The Sheltered Kid says, Solo, settle a bet. If I were a free wrestler, is it smarter to join SmackDown? because the show is so ass. I could be the best thing every week or join Raw. Well, I don't know. I mean, Raw's catching up pretty quickly. Raw was a big ol' ass tonight. So I still think SmackDown has Raw licked. I'd say SmackDown. Raw's playing catch up though. Also 20 years old, in college, only things keeping me going: The Weeknd, The Sound Off. The Weeknd, by the way, he's talking about the group. The Sound Off, Obsession, and fantasizing about Roxanne Perez. Am I going places? You may be going to prison. I mean, depending on how seriously you take that fantasizing about Roxanne Perez. As long as you're not creepy about it. You may be going behind bars if you're not careful. Void Mayweather says never-ending bloodline slop. Every week. At least introduce some new element to it. If only there was a new element to introduce to it. If only. Cataclysmic. $10 super chat. Joke question with the right amount of zeros on a check. Would you ever sell out to WWE or AEW? What did the $1 Million Man say many years ago? Everybody's got a price? You put enough zeros on the end there? We can have that conversation. Real question, he says, thoughts on chances of Roman losing at SummerSlam? Very low. The only reason I leave open a slight little possibility is because Roman had said months ago that you got me for the summer, implying that when the summer is over, he's going to disappear again, possibly until Rumble season. Or maybe not even Rumble season, maybe War Games season. But I'm fairly certain the answer is no. Also, happy belated birthday, anniversary, and making it to number 1. I've been listening on and off this past year, but your streams keep me going every morning. Wishing you the best, and thank you. Thank you, Cataclysmic. A belated happy birthday, huh? That's very belated, seeing as how my birthday is in October. But I appreciate it. Give me backshots, Solomonster. Roman equals huge net negative to the other talent. Directly made Fatu a lackey. Indirectly made Braun a lackey. Probably will avoid the Oba match at WrestleMania. If we don't get that match at WrestleMania, then there are some very interesting political games going on. We'll find out soon enough. That's got to be the match at WrestleMania. B-Man the Champ, the IC title match would be more interesting if Gable had a despicable heel to try to beat. Maybe he could turn after the match if he actually wins and say that it was all a ruse to get what he wanted. I mean, I don't know. To go right back to being a heel? That would be kind of funny, actually. If he's like, fuck all of you. I just wanted to make sure I got my hands on the title. Mike with a 10 says, I have said this before, and I will say it again. Joyce Keys should be booked so much better. Joyce Keys? Is that his mom? His girlfriend? He should be SmackDown's version of Oba. Not getting laid out by the tiresome Usos. Just annoying. Oh my God. It is very annoying. I don't disagree with you. It is very annoying. I like that. Joyce Keys. Hey, Ricky, what's going on? Ricky says 3 out of 10. is a 3B. Yes, this is the goal that's there now. It's now 4 out of 10, by the way. That is for a second round of Be the Booker. Because we haven't hit the likes goal yet. We're 50 off from the likes goal. That would be a third round if we hit that. Well, actually, no, that would be a second round. If we hit this bonus goal, then that would be a third round. Prince Vegeta says, Seth Rollins main eventing night 2 over Punk and Cody is ridiculous. He's not the star that those two are. That's the one thing that Roman said was right. Triple H has always been his work daddy. Overrated as fuck. I agree as far as like star power. In terms of in-ring, I would disagree. But as far as him being a star, absolutely. He's not at the level of the other three. Nick Grasso with a $9.99 says, my God, the Judgment Day is such a dead group. They really need to disband. Also, 0 women's matches, and they put Io Sky with Danhausen. That's how you build a women's world title match? Brother, they don't know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to the women's world championship. They are completely out to lunch. This booking is horrendous. Horrendous. D says, imagine the promos between LA Knight and Enzo. Ashley with a 10. My husband was Junkyard Jeff. He passed away this Saturday. Oh my God. What's important is how much he loved listening to this podcast. I can't thank you for how much entertainment you brought into his life. Ashley, I'm very sorry to hear that. That is terrible. I don't know all the details. Again, none of my business, but I'm very sorry to hear that. Very happy that he apparently enjoyed the podcast as much as he did. That actually makes me feel really good. And I'm glad he was able to get as much entertainment out of it as he did. I try to offer that to the people who listen. But that is awful. My thoughts are with you. I'm very sorry. Jersey Authentic says, fuck TKO. All my homies hate TKO. You're not the only one I've heard that from. Eric Joseph says, my mother passed away from pancreatic cancer about 3 weeks ago. And the only way I can have any happiness right now would be spending this evening by hearing your reviews, and I do enjoy your voice, man. Eric, I am terribly sorry about your loss. If I may say, fuck cancer. I will say it as loud as I can every single time. And I know pancreatic cancer is obviously, that's a pretty devastating diagnosis to get. I mean, any diagnosis is a terrible diagnosis, but that one in particular, I know is very difficult to fight. And I know what that feeling is like, to lose your mom to cancer, and it sucks. It's just the worst feeling. It's the worst. So if we can bring any happiness to you, however big or small it may be, I'm very happy to do so. Because I know there are some dark days when something like that happens, and any little bit of light that you can find, I know that you'll jump at it. So again, I'm very sorry to hear that. Arabian Night says Kenny Omega's prediction might actually come true. We may get Tom Brady against Mr. Beast at WrestleMania. Man, this company under TKO is cooked. A parody of pro wrestling. Yeah, I forgot that Omega had said that. That's very scary. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, WWE, their infatuation with celebrities is nothing new. The first WrestleMania was built on celebrity involvement. That show doesn't succeed without it. Without Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T, that show is not a success. Or at least not the success that it was. So we can't pretend like celebrities being involved in WWE is some new phenomenon. But the difference is like when they would do it previously, there was usually like a good reason for it. Even when they brought in LT in '95, like business was not great. And they paid him a lot of money. It was said to be in the range of $500,000 to come in and do a wrestling match. And I'm sure he probably could have used the payday at the time. And they were just trying to drum up interest in a show that otherwise felt dead because the company in '95, business-wise, was dead. So even something like that, you can understand why he would have wanted to take a shot. You know what I mean? I'm bringing in a celebrity to do something on that show. Tyson in '98. Demonstrably important, demonstrably made a difference in that company was bringing Tyson in. But it's this usage of them and this over reliance on them, and it's almost like, hey, look at me, we're so cool, we're mainstream. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. It's this overabundance of it. Every single week, every single show, the influencers and the celebrities and the musicians. And it's not even just showing them in the crowd, it's bringing them into the show. And I said this when it came to the Pat McAfee and the Jelly Roll stuff. I said, like, WWE has turned into fantasy camp. Anybody who wants to come in and play pretend wrestler for a day gets to do it. You know, as a kid when I was younger, oh man, that would have been so fucking cool, right? But like, it's this constant stream of like, hey, this person's going to come in and do this on this show, and we're going to have so-and-so's going to be in this guy's corner, and this person's going to wrestle a match. For every bad bunny who goes in there and has a great match, you get like 5 or 6 other people, and I'm like, why are they on my television? Like, what is this? There used to be a show on MTV called Celebrity Deathmatch. This WWE has basically become like a real life version of that. It really is. It's like fantasy camp. It's a very different, it's just not the same. The product is not, I don't recognize what this product is. I don't know what this product in 2026 is supposed to be. It's not a pro wrestling show. I don't know. It's become some weird hybrid mix of like a bunch of different things. And I'm not sure what it is. But it ain't it. It's not great. Whatever it is, it's not great. Phil says, hi, Solo. Around what year do you think the honeymoon phase started ending for Triple H? Honestly, after Cody finished his story. 2024. EJ Slamp, Brewers and Mets tonight was a blast. Miz, pitcher, not shitty wrestler, was amazing. Saw Keith Hernandez and American Family Field is a gem. Yes, but you did not answer the most important question. Who won? Or should I even ask? The Average Grunt, birthday boy, popping in to say hello. All the best. Well, happy birthday, Average Grunt. Now go back to enjoying your birthday and living it up and not watching Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Bore. Brian H. DeGreen Boy with a 10 says, what's up, Solo? I was at the show tonight. It was a lot more fun being there live than it would have been watching it on TV for sure. Especially with Punk being on SmackDown now and no Roman appearance. Yeah, they really shortchanged you guys, didn't they? In the last few weeks on Raw, we've had Roman and Brock and Cody and Punk. You didn't have any of them tonight. Unless there was a dark match. The Mets lost. Grass is green, the sky is blue, and water is wet. Thank you for the update. Venom Kitetsu, again with that 69 drop. Man, that was a long time ago. How many of these do we have? I already read that message, but I want to say thank you again. I appreciate that. Medium Ugly Lad. What's up, Solo? Raw once again proving to me that the only good wrestling shows I've been to this year are HOG and Stardom. I left Saturday night's main event early because of the New York Knicks glazing. Well, I did read that one earlier, but it was so good I had to read it again. You mean you left during the main event? Put that in air quotes, the main event. Mets lost to the Brewers 8-3. I thought it would be worse. Phil. Hi, Solo. Start, bench, cut. Io Sky, Stephanie Vicaire, Roxanne Perez. Also, Maxine Dupree sucks. She needs to go away. Start, bench, and cut. Well, I'm going to start Io. I'm going to bench Stephanie, who's benched now anyway, and I'm going to cut Roxanne. Since you're forcing me. You're forcing my hand. I don't want to cut anybody, but you're forcing me. So, Barry MK, thank you again. Again, I read that one earlier. Thank you for the learning tree. The Average Grunt, thank God I don't watch WWE anymore, because if I had to watch a Raw centered around Danhausen on my birthday, I would quit life on the spot. Wow, it's a little extreme. Let's not be quitting life now. He means his wrestling life is what he would be quitting. Prince Vegeta says, I know you don't like Mount Rushmore lists, but what's your Mount Rushmore for directors? Well, Nolan is on mine. Nolan is definitely on mine. Scorsese, Spielberg, maybe Michael Mann, honestly. Yeah, I'm very excited. Heat 2 is in development, and they're attaching a lot of big names to it. I know, I think Christian Bale, DiCaprio, and there are others too. But yeah, and of course, and again, this is not in any particular order here. How can I forget the man himself? John Carpenter. I am a horror fan. I am a Carpenter guy. He's got to be on the list. Put him wherever you want. Alex Garcia with a $20 super chat. I was finally watching the Obsession movie before Raw tonight as I ate a deli sandwich. Bad idea. Well, what's the verdict, Alex? What's the verdict on Cat? You have to let us know. Red Emissary of Darkness, what's worse, Bloodline Vortex or the Jericho Vortex? Oh, man. Oh, boy. Well, the Bloodline Vortex was actually quite great for a while there. So I'm going to say the Jericho Vortex was worse. Super Pony, I agree with Prince Vegeta. I'll never take away from Seth how good he is in the ring. What was the last time his character was compelling? He might be the most overpushed wrestler of this era. I don't know that his character has ever been compelling. There's nothing about Rollins and his character and his persona on TV that's ever compelled me. You know, I can appreciate the great matches that he's had. What he's doing now is not compelling. When he was with the Vision, that wasn't compelling. When he was coming out dressed, wearing his wife's clothes, that was not compelling. I guess maybe it's going back to, honestly, probably the Shield and maybe the initial period when he, went with the Authority and helped break up the Shield. That was probably it. Compelling is not a word I would use to describe Seth Rollins on TV. It's just not. Bucky freaking Dent. Thoughts on the steroid era of baseball? Also, what is your favorite home run derby? I don't think I have a specific year. The steroid era of baseball is legendary. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't as fun after they got the juice out. I'm just saying. I'm sure they're hopefully all healthier now, but when you have look, it's very much like pro wrestling in that regard. So when steroids were running wild, brother, and fucking 85% of the guys were doing it, that came during a period of wrestling that I grew up on. So of course I'm always going to have a fondness for it because that was the era I became a fan in. But the personalities were just, I mean, literally, you would look at them on screen and they were so much more colorful, but just like the promos were so much more entertaining and the personalities were larger than life. Not just the bodies, fucking monsters and giants. Wrestling was just better. The matches, look, that's the trade-off, right? So if you're someone who's big on work rate and, in ring, obviously you're going to find a lot of great wrestling these days. And the style of wrestling is just a lot more fast-paced. It's a lot more manic than it was back then. But wrestling back then felt like pro wrestling. If we're talking WWE, I don't know what this WWE product now is supposed to be. I don't know what the accurate term would be to really even call it. Because it's not really wrestling in the way that I knew wrestling to be. It's different. So the steroid era of baseball was a lot of fun to watch as a fan, as was the steroid era of wrestling. Not that there aren't people now who aren't doing steroids, but it was certainly more bountiful back then. It was peak baseball. There are people who don't want to admit it, but it was. And Nick Grasso, WWE should take notes from HOG on how to book women's title matches. The Shotzi Blackheart Steph DeLander build was better than any WWE women's matches that they tried to book. Well, the thing about the independent scene also you got to keep in mind is that you have a lot more freedom to do certain things that you want to incorporate into your storyline that they may not have, on WWE television, for example. So that helps. The creativity flows more also when you're on the independent scene. And there's a lot more collaboration. I don't disagree with you, though. That was a very heated feud. I can remember being in the back of an ambulance, in fact, after Shotzi was attacked backstage and had a whole conversation with her. And she demanded that I'm going out there. I have a match tonight. I'm going out there. And fuck Steph DeLander. And I tried to get her to stay in the ambulance, and she just threw the ice pack at me, and she left the ambulance. And I just was sitting there in the back of the ambulance wondering, how did I get here? How did I get to this point in my life? I'm sitting alone here in an ambulance with an ice pack in my hand. Oh, man. But that's the way it goes, right? That's how it goes. Hey, you know what you should do? Because the next House of Glory show, we're going to be streaming it. It's one of our biggest shows of the year. We're going to be streaming it live on YouTube for the first time. It is the Friday after SummerSlam, the SmackDown after SummerSlam that night. Fuck SmackDown. You should all tune into HOG. It'll be a much better show. Or at least do the two-screen experience. But my goal is to deliver a show that is going to be more enjoyable than SmackDown will be. I know it's a low bar, but that's my goal. So, we got one round to Be the Booker coming to us, and on the likes, we are at 551. The wheel said we needed 550. We have one like more than the goal. So we are guaranteed 2 rounds of Be the Booker tonight. And we're 7 out of 10 on the bonus. We only need 3 more. And we may get 3 rounds. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Let's get started on the first round. It's time. I'm going to whisper this, okay? Gonna look around, make sure nobody can hear me. It's time to Be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
I don't know why I'm whispering. I'm watching you sleep. You're so cute when you sleep. All right, here we go. Round number 1. Look at that. Sarah has the right idea. I will be watching HOG instead of SmackDown. So watch. Now, WWE now is going to counter program House of Glory. They're going to schedule a B crew show the same night. The Raw crew is going to be running a show somewhere in New York. Start to counter program us like they do AEW. All right, tag team Be the Booker. We have, well, this is quite the image considering where we are here in 2026. Edge and Christian with their tag team titles. And this I can tell, this is from SummerSlam. SummerSlam 2000, 26 years later. They are the tag team champions. They look very different. All that hair is gone. Christian, honestly, Christian still pretty much looks the same as he did when he first came into AEW. For some reason, Copeland, it looks like he aged like 10 years and 2. I don't know what it is. He's a lot more grizzled now than he was even when he first came in. He aged very quickly, very rapidly. Christian pretty much still looks the same as he did a few years ago. All right, here we go. Edge and Christian going to be putting those tag belts on the line against, oh, we got more belts. We got Miz and Big Show. Miz, okay, see, I know they have a name. Show Miz? Is it Show Miz? We just went through this a few weeks ago. What the fuck was their name? I think it was Show Miz. Yeah. Not interested. Not interested. That may be an unpopular decision, but that gets the buzzer from me. I'm going to do what Triple H was terrified of doing tonight. I'm going to book a women's match. We've got Becky Lynch, who is not on the SummerSlam card this year. Oh my goodness, we just hit the the double bonus. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 rounds of Be the Booker coming to you here. And let's let a hearty cheer. It was Chicago for MBK who got us over the hump. Chicago for MBK clinched it. So we got a lot more Be the Booker to come. Oh my. Becky Lynch. Who is Becky Lynch? Gonna be mixing it up with... who was that? Who was that in the chat? Karate Chop Shop. Oh, you popped me. That's the line of the night right there. I couldn't figure out, Miz and Big Show. I couldn't figure out what the name was, and I think it was Miz Show, and he goes Shit Show, and I'm like, how did I not think of that? That's exactly what that team was. Shit Show. Edge and Christian against Shit Show. Yes, it still gets a buzzer. Becky Lynch is going to be wrestling. Dana Brooke. Man. Come on, man. Come on. Where are the big matches? I'm trying to book a card here that people are going to want to pay to see. Gonna have to get Shit Show back out here. Gangrel is watching you masturbate. Spin again. It's one of those nights and Be the Booker. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We go from Shit Show to Dana Brooke to Gangrel masturbating. This has been it's a good thing we have 2 more rounds to go because this is a lost cause at this point. So we will try again here. We have Demon Balor, who is definitely not watching you masturbate. I don't think so anyway. Demon Balor is going to be in our main event. Is it going to be Pin Balor? Depends on who he's wrestling. Oh, he's definitely going to be Pin Balor. That's for damn sure. Demon Balor against Brock Lesnar. You know damn well it ain't going any other way but pin Balor. Pin Balor it is. Oh, man. Hey, Arc Prince. Thank you for the $5 super chat from Arc Prince.
Fresh goes better with Mentos Fresh. Fresh goes better with Mentos Fresh and for the line. Mentos The Freshmaker.
Oh, have yourself a Mento. That'll put a smile on your face. Hell yeah. I love it. I love the Mentos drop. I'll have to go back in a moment here and find out who that was. I was so into the super chat. I missed the name. I was so excited. I think it was a Hat of Discipline. I believe that's who. A Hat of Discipline. Thank you very much for the Mentos.
It's the amazing Goonthar.
Oh.
Jerry
I totally missed this
loves
one.
Goonthar the Magnificent. All hail Goonthar.
Yes. Yes, indeed. TMH Solo Prince with a $50 Goonthar drop. Stay blessed, my brothers. You as well, TMH. Look at that. Very casually just kind of strolling on in, dropping the big bomb of the night so far. Putting himself in the #1 spot. Look at this guy. Thank you, my friend. Juicy Fruit is better. You know, I used to have Juicy Fruit when I used to chew gum. Juicy Fruit was my gum of choice. That and Bazooka Joe. Bazooka Joe was very good. All right, so now what we are going to do here is move on to round number 2 of 3. And those of you who have been around for a while, you know that in the later rounds we pick stipulations, which were recently refreshed. So we're going to see what we land on here. We're going to find out what kinds of matches we're going to be having. For fuck's sake, are you fucking kidding me with this? You know, when I said that Be the Booker was on one tonight, I was hoping to leave that in the first round. I really was. And now we open this round with a Punjabi prison match. Not the way that I wanted to start round number 2. I'm going to do something that Triple H is terrified of doing. I'm going to book a women's Punjabi prison. He would never. He would never. But I'm going to. Ooh. Awesome Kong, former TNA knockout. You know what? If there was anybody who would probably excel in a match like this, it would be Awesome Kong, because she gets her opponent trapped inside a cage. That's not a place that you want to be. Looking across the ring from her in a Punjabi prison match? I wouldn't want to do that. Wow. Now, how's that for a match? Awesome Kong against Sherry Martel in a Punjabi prison match. 2 tough ladies. See, that I dig. That I have to give a bell to that. How can I not? Our next match is going to be a Lions Den match. We've had quite a few of these lately. We had one just the other night. We had a Lions Den match. So we'll keep it to the... there's got to be a singles match, so we'll keep it to the men. We may have to skip the tag teams here for this round, but let's see here. We have a Lions Den with the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, entering the cage. Get that drum roll. Get that drum roll. British Bulldog against the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. It looks like the Bulldog is going to fall. It looks like the monarchy is going to fall to the bloodline. The monarchy falls to the dynasty. And in our main event. Oh. Okay. I think Be the Booker has made its choice of which stipulation it likes the most. It really loves this Lions Den match. We have our second Lions Den match of the night. Holy shit. Are you kidding me with this? What is the obsession with the Lions Den? I feel like I've booked 4 of these in the last week. Talk about running a stipulation into the ground. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Oh, he can make any match work. Look at him blowing that fire. Kev says Michael Cole, the Bulldog against the Big Dog. Oh my God, that's nauseating. It's nauseating that I could hear his voice in my fucking head. The Bulldog against the Big Dog. No Michael Cole call will ever be more cringe-inducing to me. I mean, for all the big dogs and the boss times and everything else, nothing will ever be as cringeworthy to me as the call that he made in the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 32 between The Undertaker and Shane McMahon. When Shane McMahon came diving off the top of the cell and Michael Cole is on camera after Shane lands, we could see him literally reading from a script. For the love of mankind. I'm like, dude, I wanted to crawl into a ball. Like, I had secondhand embarrassment from listening to that. It was so forced and fake and insincere, and he had to read it from a fucking script. And that's what's wrong with WWE. And that was how many years ago? That was 10 years ago now. For the love of mankind. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against William Regal in a Lions Den match. Hell yeah. I wonder if those two ever wrestled in, I think they did when they were in WCW together, like 94-ish. I don't know. I wonder if they ever wrestled. Yeah, it's all Vince, but so what? Cole was the one delivering it. It was fucking cringe-inducing. Nothing I said was a lie. Everything I said was accurate. Yes, I understand he's doing his job. It doesn't make it any better. He still sucks. All right, round number 3. Good thing we have that third round coming our way. Hopefully no Punjabi prisons here.
It's the amazing Goonthar.
Oh my God.
Jerry Lawler loves Goonthar the Magnificent. All hail Goonthar.
He is back. Oh my God. TMH Solo Prince says, that Law and Order stuff a while back had me crying laughing. I'll bet it did. TMH, thank you. Another $50 Goonthar drop. The 50 and the 50 combining for a $100 bomb. Man, he is solidifying the top spot tonight. Look at all that magenta. I love it. I love it. And Mike, thank you for the 5, man. Mike Witt dropping some more love. You love to see it. I love to see this third round, too. I love to see this. It is going to be a boiler room brawl. And I love that because I have a soft spot in my heart for this stipulation. I really enjoyed that boiler room brawl from SummerSlam in 1996. It's a personal favorite of mine. Paul Bearer turning on The Undertaker at the end of that match, but it started in the boiler room, and they had to work their way out of the boiler room and into the arena, and they taped the boiler room or the whole backstage portion of that match, I think the day before, I believe. Either earlier in the day or the day before. I think the day before. Then they just came out live as if the whole thing was done live. And if I remember correctly, I think Undertaker worked that match with a staph infection in his elbow. So anyway, boiler room brawl. Go with the men. Abyss. Perfect stipulation for Abyss. I could totally see him in a boiler room brawl. It works. It works, right? It works so well. I have a good feeling about this card. I think this card's going to sell out the joint. Abyss in a boiler room brawl against the Beast Mortos. Oh, man. Beast Mortos, man. This guy's been dealing with visa issues. We haven't seen him, and I feel like I haven't seen him in months. I'm sure Mercedes has, though. Abyss and the Beast Mortos, man, starting in the boiler room, man, those guys are going to go nuts. That's going to be great. Low key, man, that's going to be great. And do you know that Abyss and the Beast Mortos have more in common than you would think? Abyss has a brother who's a lawyer. The Beast Mortos happens to be a lawyer. Yeah, see, there's a common tie that binds there. All right, we go from a boiler room brawl to a hell in a cell. You know what I'm thinking? Nah, never mind. I had a thought, but I'm going to not do that. We're going to have a women's Hell in a Cell match. Change it up a little bit. Frank the Lawyer. Yes, that's right. Frank the Lawyer against Joseph Park Esquire. All right, women's Hell in a Cell with Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. Yes, that is the women's championship over her shoulder. A former women's champion, Stephanie McMahon. In a Hell in a Cell match. Oh, boy. Against Asuka. Who wouldn't want to see Asuka just murdering Stephanie McMahon inside the Hell in a Cell? Picking her apart limb from limb. Showing her what real graps is all about. Asuka will show the way. And this is it. It all comes down to this. The final match of the evening. The true main event. We need a good stipulation for this one. Last man standing. Look at Triple H's hair. His hair is going one way. His body is going another in this image. I noticed, by the way, at the SummerSlam kickoff yesterday, he's growing his hair back. Did you notice that? Or at least he's trying to. He's starting to grow his hair back. Well, since it's last man standing, I guess we have to start with the men. John Cena in a last man standing. Was John Cena ever in a great, memorable last man standing match? Let's see. I don't know. Well, the match with Umaga was last man standing. Or was that I Quit? No, it was last man standing. No, wait, maybe it was. No, I think it was last man standing. Right? The Royal Rumble match in 07? Was it 07? 06. 07. I don't remember. Anyway, John Cena, last man standing match. It's not important. Oh my God, someone mentioned him earlier. It's Mantar. Who mentioned Mantar earlier? Holy shit, look at this. John Cena against Mantar in a last man standing match, which is impossible for Mantar to win because he's only half man. He's half man, half tar. So therefore, he's not truly a man. So how can one win a last man standing match when one is not truly a man? Look at this fucking thing. You're going to tell me that wrestling today is not as good as it was back then? And look at that image right there. Are you fucking kidding me? That's right. That's right. Mantar getting the rub. That's right. We got we didn't get him in super chat form, but we got Mantar tonight. Damn it. He's going to be eating an attitude adjustment is what he's going to be eating. Can't believe that. Oh, wait, were we done? Was that our main event? Nah, fuck it. We'll do one more match. Why not? I don't even know what I'm talking about. We'll do one. We're getting a bonus match here. Look at that. You're getting bonus wrestling here on this card. I don't give a shit. We're doing one more. Of course. Of course. Of course. We should have ended on that. We should have ended on John Cena and Mantar, and now we have to book a Kennel from Hell match. Where's the British Bulldog when you need him? We already booked him. The Bulldog in a Kennel from Hell match would kind of make sense. Oh my God. Kennel from Hell. Oh yeah, Jersey Authentic is really excited about this. Oh, next spin is the guest referee. So we are going to have this is like putting a hat on a hat. We have a stipulation within a stipulation. We're going to have a special guest referee for the Kennel from Hell match. So let's find out who our referee is going to be. Solo doing a Tony Khan overbooking tonight. So then we're going to have a 23-minute overrun. Is that what you're saying? Adam Pierce says that Be the Booker is hereby suspended. Oh my. You know, I actually think that's a mercy killing. I see that as a mercy killing. I think Be the Booker just knew. And it knew that it was time to put this to an end. Yes. Yes. Adam Pierce saved us from the kennel. Thank you, Adam Pierce. Finally made a good decision. Well, that was certainly one of the Be the Bookers of all time. A very interesting addition. Bucky freaking Dent, by the way, is celebrating 52 months of channel membership. You want to feel worse? I asked ChatGPT, what if Carlos Beltran hit that home run against Wainwright in 2006? It would have been a grand slam. Yeah, you're right. I do feel worse now that you've said that. EJ said, oh, actually, no, we'll, hold on. I don't want to miss any here. Super Pony says, is Obsession better than any Halloween sequel? Yeah, of course. Oh, you mean all of them or just any of them? There's lots of Halloween sequels it's better than. I mean, look, the original Halloween is still, it's in rarefied air. Obsession is better than most, if not all, of the Halloween sequels. Like it's just a great concept, great acting. I love the way it's shot, the lighting, the music, the score, like all of it. It's great. Fucking love it. Favorite movie of the year. Prince Vegeta with a $4.99. Being a constant on WWE television since 2022, are you surprised they haven't pulled the trigger on a Logan Paul world title run yet? I don't know if I'm surprised. I think at some point he will hold a world title in this company. But he really only signed on as a full-time guy within the past year. And I think that maybe they were waiting until he made more of a commitment. Now that he has, I mean, he's injured now, but now that he has, it certainly opens up the possibility of that happening a lot sooner. So I'm not surprised. I do still think it's going to happen at some point. Mike says, what pisses me off more than the bloodline is that these moron fans keep cheering for them when they are clearly the heels in this story. Get a clue, people. Yeah, they're chanting OTC over every LA Knight promo. They cheer LA Knight except when he disses Roman, and then they chant OTC, OTC. EJ says, Ridley Scott's my favorite director. At his best, he's an all-time great. At his worst, absolute disasters. Is he in your top 10? I don't know. Probably not. I don't have a ranked top 10, so I can't say for sure if he is. Maybe he's on the bottom part of it. Why do some people defend Barry Bonds? Because, quote, everyone used steroids, but call Lance Armstrong a fraud when cycling was just as doped. I mean, there are people out there who will trash both of them equally. I mean, I can't speak to the people who defend one and not the other, probably because one is their favorite and the other isn't. Or one was an asshole. Actually, I mean, they both kind of had a rep for being an asshole, but it's funny to look at Bonds now, though. Look, he's 100 pounds soaking wet. Art Prince just bought my tickets to High Intensity, taking a date who has never been to a wrestling show. Hopefully she enjoys. Well, I think she'll love it. High Intensity, baby. HOG. HOG. I think the first 4 rows are sold out. I don't know if we're adding a 5th. But general admission is still available. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be packed on YouTube. It's going to be packed in the building. I can't wait. August 7th. Hat of Discipline. Again, thank you for the $30 Mentos drop. Always puts a smile on my face. Mike says, you want to make Oba into a superhuman babyface. Have him destroy Brock like Brock destroyed Cena in 2014. And why do they keep trying to get Austin Theory over? It's not happening. Yeah, it's not happening. I don't know that destroying Brock in Minneapolis, though, is going to be the right move. Because I don't know what the reaction is going to be. It's probably going to be pretty favorable to Brock when he comes out. And so they may not react kindly to that. If you're trying to create some super over babyface, maybe don't do that in Minneapolis. Just a suggestion. Reconson with 56 months of channel membership. Can't believe I turned 30 today. WWE needs to hurry up on what night Brock is so I can get my ticket. LOL. Yeah, they still haven't mentioned who's on what night. We still don't have dates for WrestleMania next year. We know what month it's going to be. We still have no dates for WrestleMania. It's July. That's insane. Bret Hart with 52 months. Solomonster whispering wrestling promos. Solos ASMR. Should I be doing ASMR content? Would that get views on YouTube? Would that speed me up to 100,000 subscribers? Because I'm on the cusp of 93. I'm not getting there fast enough. Should I do ASMR content? Raw was total garbage tonight. Just a terrible, terrible show. I didn't feel anything watching this show tonight. Very, very bad. Thank you, Bret Hart. Chicago 4 MBK. Okay, let's do round 3. And indeed we did. Thank you, brother, for helping us get there. TMH, Solo Prince, they blessed my brothers again. Thank you for the 50 spot. Very much appreciated. Super Pony, am I crazy to say the current product is worse than 2018 to early 2022? The shows were awful back then, but at least I felt something. I don't know what it was, but it was something. I feel dead inside watching these shows. I can't say it's worse than COVID because that will always be the worst to me. I mean, there were aspects of that era that were fun, like when they did some cinematic stuff, but wrestling in front of nobody is just like, I have no desire to ever go back and rewatch that stuff. Like that stuff has no replay value to me whatsoever. You got to have fans in the building. I can't say this is worse than that, but whatever they're doing now, man, it is just fucking awful. It's just hard to sit through. It just feels so empty. Like a shell. You crack it open, there's nothing inside. Darth Panic with 50 months of membership. Thank you. All the new members that have signed up, and we had a bunch of gifted ones over the last few weeks. Remember, you could always gift memberships as well. They get assigned randomly, but that helps the channel out and probably puts a smile on someone's face if they wake up and they're like, holy shit, I got a green name on the channel. Somebody gifted me a membership. I got an icon, a badge next to my name now. I got a skull. Can make their day. TMH. Again, thank you for the follow-up 50. Mark Kwan says, Be the Booker wants to have a Lions Den PLE. Yeah, if it was up to Be the Booker, it would be nothing but Lions Den matches up and down the card. Mike said, who wins in a Lions Den match between Solomonster and JD from New York? Oh, Solomonster. Easily. EJ Slemp, the worst Michael Cole call will always be. I forgot about that one. Box-like structure. Oh my God. WrestleMania 37. Yes, that. I think I ranted on that in my review. I'm like, yeah, he called it it's a box-like structure. I'm like, yeah, you know what that is? It's a fucking box. You idiot. RDH, why isn't TNT on your channel? No offense to him. It's his show. I mean, it's our show technically, but created on that channel, that's where it belongs. Devin says, could Vince Russo pull off ASMR? Absolutely not. What would that even sound like? Bro. Wrestling. Rosebud. RDH says we need Solo doing mukbangs for sure. So whatever it is, I don't need to be doing it. I'm sure about that. Super Pony, pray for Chad and Penta's match to not be on ESPN. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be one of the matches that they will put on ESPN. Can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to open night 2 with the Hell in a Cell between Oba and Brock on ESPN. In fact, I'm almost positive they're going to want Oba and Brock on ESPN. So take your pick on which night, and they probably open with it. Because if they're going to close with the championship matches, it's all about you either open or you close. If you're not on last, you're on first. I've heard Paul Heyman say that before. I would think Hell in a Cell is going to open up maybe night 2. And Mike says, my Brewers beat your Mets. Sorry, so they have nothing to apologize for. The Mets are fucking terrible. Not your fault that there's such a terrible baseball team. And I think that I got through all of them. I think that's all the messages. You guys killed it tonight. I love it. 3 rounds of Be the Booker. A lot of great messages and questions, but I think the line of the night has to be Shit Show as the real name of the Big Show Miz tag team. That is just priceless. I love that. Speaking of TNT, I will be live with JD over on his channel tomorrow night for a brand new installment of Tuesday Night Titans. But before that, earlier in the evening, a new episode will be dropping of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show. So talking some of the key news of the week, fallout from Saturday night's main event, redemption predictions, and then a bunch of stuff that was not covered on the Sound Off. Sure, I'll get some news on Sheamus as well, and a few other things to dive into there. So that will be the Tuesday shows. And then the next time I'm live on this channel with you will be the Dynamite post show on Wednesday. We missed Dynamite live last week. We should be back in the saddle again on Wednesday. So that is where I will see you guys. Hopefully I'll see you all over the channel this week. I got other content going up too, including tomorrow. Be well, stay safe. Thank you for all the love and support. Hit that like button on your way out. Let's get this into the algorithm so other people can tune in. And I'll be back with you on Wednesday for the Dynamite post show. Until then, take care, guys.